Okay, so this is questions 9 and 10. So this is the no calculator part. So for the first part is an old thing. So we have f of x is equal to x squared times x minus 9 squared times x plus 4 times x minus 2. So the first thing is you want to find your zeros. So this is in factored form. So your zeros, you just have to draw your t-charts. We get x equals 0, x equals positive 9, x equals negative 4, and x equals 2. All right, so now what you need in order to graph this is you need your multiplicity. All right, so these two here have a multiplicity, has an even a multiplicity, and I look at the exponents. The exponents of my factors tell me. If they're even, it's an even multiplicity. So the multiplicity is even. So what that tells me about the graph, that the graph is tangent at x equals 0 and x equals 9. So my exponents here are 1 and 1, so that means my multiplicity is odd. That means my graph crosses at x equals negative 4 and x equals 2. All right, now in order to graph this, I need to know about the leading coefficient and the degree. So the degree, remember, add up your exponents. So I have 2 here, that's 4, 1, and 1. So that's the degree is 6. So when your degree is even, it'll either go up, up, or it goes down, down. So how I know is I look at the leading coefficient. My leading coefficient, if I distribute everything, would be positive. So if my leading coefficient is positive, it will be up, up. If it was negative, it would go down, down. Okay, so I'm going to draw a picture now. So I have positive 9, I have 0, I have 2, and I have negative 4. Okay, so I know it's going to be up, up, so it's going to come down this way like this, right, and have my arrow pointing up. When I get to negative 4, it's going to cross at negative 4. So it's going to cross at negative 4. Sorry, have that cross at negative 4. It's going to come back up. It's going to be tangent at 0. So it's going to bounce at 0. It's going to cross at 2, so it's going to have to come back up and cross at 2. Come down and be tangent at 9. And that's how I get it to go back up. So I have my ends are up, up. Okay, so now I want the end behavior. So as x goes to negative infinity, so as x goes to the left, my y's go to infinity. As x goes to infinity, so as x goes to the right, my y's go up. So f of x goes to infinity. Okay, so let's take a look at 9b. All right, so 9b is f of x is equal to negative x cubed plus x times x squared plus 5x minus 6. So this you have to factor, because you got to get your factors so you can know what the zeros are, and you can figure out the multiplicity. So in this first one, I'm going to factor out negative x. So then I'm left with x squared minus 1. And then that can factor, that's dots, that's x plus 1, x minus 1. This factors and becomes x plus 6 and x minus 1. Okay, so I'm just going to rewrite this because I see I have an x minus 1 and an x minus 1 there. So this is f of x is equal to negative x. I'm going to put all my odd exponents together. So this would be an odd exponent, this would be an odd exponent. So it'd be negative x, x plus 1 times x plus 6. And then I have 2x minus 1, so it'd be x minus 1 squared. All right, so my zeros are at x equals 0, x equals negative 1, x equals negative 6, and x is equal to 1. Okay, so now I want my multiplicity. So these three here have exponents of a 1. So my multiplicity is odd. So that means it crosses, the graph crosses at x equals 0, x equals negative 1, and x is equal to negative 6. Here my multiplicity is even. So that means it's tangent at x equals 1. Okay, so now I need the degree. The degree, let's add up the exponents in the factored form. So I have 1, 2, let me go down here. 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5. So the degree is 5. So when the degree is 5, when the degree is odd, it'll go up. They'll go in different directions. So it'll go up to the left, down to the right, or down to the left, up to the right. So I need the leading coefficient. The leading coefficient, if I distribute everything, would be a negative. So that means it has to look like a negative slope, so it's this one here. Okay, so now let's graph. So I have my zeros are at 1 and negative 1 and 0 and negative 6. All right, so it goes in different directions, so it's going to be up on the left side here. So when I get down to negative 6, it's going to cross, so it's going to cross at negative 6. Come back up, it's going to cross at negative 1. It's going to be crossing at 0, so cross at 0. And then it's going to be tangent at 1, so that's how I get them to go into different directions. Up to the left, down to the right. Okay, now I need my end behavior. So as x goes to negative infinity, so as x goes to the left, my y goes up, so that means it goes to infinity. As x goes to infinity, so as x goes to right, my y goes to negative infinity. Okay, and let's take a look at number 10. All right, so we have to solve. This is no calculator, so this is the one where you're going to use your left hand with your fingers there. So I have negative the square root of 3 sine theta plus 2 sine theta cosine theta equals 0. So my let statement is going to be let x equal sine theta, let y equal cosine theta. So I have negative radical 3, not negative, I don't know why I put negative, it's not negative, sorry. So it's radical 3, x plus 2xy equals 0. So there is a GCF. The GCF is x. So I factor out the GCF of x, and I'm left with radical 3 plus 2y is equal to 0. Okay, T-chart. I get x is equal to 0. Radical 3 plus 2y equals 0 minus the square root of 3. So I get 2y is equal to negative the square root of 3. Divide by 2, I get negative the square root of 3 over 2. So I'm going to replace x with sine. So I have sine theta equals 0. That's special, we'll use the unit circle. And then I have y is cosine theta equals negative radical 3 over 2. So this is special. That's from the unit circle, and I know because of the 0. So remember, sine is 0. Sine is the y value on the unit circle. So I'm looking for where my y values are 0. So this point here is 1, 0, 0, 1, negative 1, 0. And this point down here would be 0, negative 1. I'm looking for where my y is 0. So that would be here at 0 degrees. So theta equals 0 degrees. Over here at 180. And then it would be back around to 360, but we're going to cross off 360 because of the interval. Notice the interval was 0 is less than or equal to theta is less than 360. It does not include 360, so we can't have 360 in there. Okay, so now let's go to cosine theta equals negative radical 3. So we'll deal with the negative in a minute. That's just going to tell us what quadrants we need to be in. So I need radical 3 over 2. So if these are my 5 fingers, right, here's my thumb, my pinky, right? So I need radical 3. So I would have to put in this finger here. How am I going to do this? I'd have to put in this finger here, right, to get my radical 3. Remember, cosine is the top fingers, sine is the bottom fingers. Radical 3 over 2. So I'm putting in this finger here, which is 30 degrees. So theta equals 30 degrees. But now I need to figure out which quadrants I need to be in. So I look here, cosine is negative. Cosine is negative in 2 and 3. So 30 degrees is obviously not in quadrant 2 or 3, so that's my reference angle. So I want the angle that terminates in quadrant 2 first. So my reference angle is 30. So that's 180 minus 30. So theta is equal to 150. And then I need the angle that terminates in quadrant 3. So my reference angle is 30. That's 180 plus 30. That's 210. Just make sure you cross off that 30 there. So it's 150 and 210. And then obviously these over here too. Don't forget about those. So 0, 180, 150, 210. All right, so let's take a look at 10b, last one. Okay, so we have cosine theta minus 2 cosine theta sine theta equals 0. So I'm going to have let x equal cosine theta, let y equal sine theta. So I have x minus 2xy equals 0. I'm going to factor out the GCF of x times 1 minus 2y equals 0. T-chart, we get x equals 0, 1 minus 2y equals 0. Minus 1, I get negative 2y equals negative 1. Divide by negative 2, I get 1/2. Replace x with cosine theta. So cosine theta equals 0. That's special. It's on the axes. And so I have sine theta is my y, which is 1/2. Okay, so let's draw the unit circle. 1, 0, 0, 1, negative 1, 0, 0, negative 1. Sine is your x value, looking for when x is 0. X is 0 here. X is 0 here at 90 degrees. And then x is 0 down here at 270. Okay, so now we have sine theta equals 1/2. So this is my pinky, this would be my thumb, pinky thumb. And then I have my 3 fingers. I want sine to be 1/2. So I'm going to put in this finger here. Again, that's 30. Right, because this is my sine. That'd be 1/2. All right, so that sine is equal to 30. Let's figure out which quadrants we need to be in. So I have sine here is positive. Sine is positive in 1 and 2. So that means 30 degrees is good. So I just need to be in quadrant 2. So that means I need this angle here in quadrant 2. My reference angle is 30, so therefore my red angle is equal to 150. And that does not look like 150, it looks like 180. So 150 here. So I have 90, 270, 30, and 150. Okay, so that's it. Have a good night. See you tomorrow in class.